I know people are still hurting. I'm not unaware of it. As my dad would say, every time that price of the gas went up at the pump, guess what? It was a conversation at our kitchen table that mattered. It affected outcomes. It affected what we did. But we can do this without raising a penny in taxes on anyone making under $400,000. We have to do it. All we have to do is ask the wealthiest Americans among us and major corporations to pay their fair share, just a little bit more.
Post comes out with it. They're the only one that comes out with it, and then it is banned on social media.
That's bad.
It's horrific.
That's bad.
Because again, it is. I think we have to. You have to say it. It's a real story.
Oh yeah.
To help local officials whose communities are being overwhelmed by hordes of illegal immigrants who are being dropped off by the Biden administration, Texas is providing charter buses to send these illegal immigrants who have been dropped off by the Biden administration to Washington, D.C. We are sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across our border.
As long as the pandemic is raging in any part of the world, the United States is not safe.
It turns out that it seems that at least a lot of what was on that laptop is true. And here's where the problem is from the left-leaning media perspective, which is, why didn't they make any effort to try to verify it? In particular, the moment that Hunter Biden admits that he's under federal investigation, so now we're in December of 2020, it's really just in the last month or so that the mainstream or the left-leaning media have begun to say, yeah, what was on the laptop, a lot of it really seems to be true. The question is, why did it take so long when it comes to something as significant, I would argue, as not just the president's son in potential trouble, but the possibility that the president's son at the time used the vice president's name, the former vice president's name, to do business in China, potentially elsewhere. Those are legitimate questions, I think, that the media didn't ask.
It hasn't even been a year from where many members of Congress, 26 members of the House, I don't know if you're one of them, voted to try a bill to ban fracking as well as oil and natural gas exports. Were you one of the 26 House Democrats that voted to ban fracking as well as oil and gas production?
Look, the question is what are the oil companies doing? Yes, I am against fracking. I think it's a real problem.
Did you vote yes on that?
The question is that the oil companies made a decision, rather, in this crisis right now, to raise the cost, to gouge the consumers, in some ways to do what we say in the name of the hearing today is gouged at the gas pump. Big oil in America's pain at the pump.
How long have you been wearing a badge, Sheriff?
38 years.
In 38 years, have you ever seen anything like what we're facing right now?
This is the worst I've ever seen it.
And you're sworn to protect and serve the citizens of your community, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Your men, your women that serve, that wear your badge, you're dedicated, compassionate law enforcement professionals, sir?
Yes.
Well, some of us stand with them. God bless you.
Thank you.
Democratic governors better be running ahead of President Biden right now. But it is fascinating to see. It's anywhere from an 8 to 10 point gap in all of these directions. And it feels like if you're a Democratic incumbent governor, Yamiche, it's probably a little bit easier to separate yourself from the president than if you're a Democratic senator.
Yeah, when you look at these numbers, it in some ways underscores why there were people missing in those key visits to Pennsylvania, to Georgia, when the president was out selling his agenda. This is another sign that President Biden and the White House is really in trouble and facing real challenges here.
I mean, I've got these. You can pick the swing state fast. Michigan. There's a 13-point gap between Whitmer and Biden. Nevada, a 9-point gap between Sisolak and Biden. Look, we know that if the president's job rating's below 45, no matter the party, it's going to be an anchor.
These transnational organizations, they have no respect for Americans, have no respect for communities that we're talking about today. It's going to be a huge impact. We're already outpaced, like I said a few minutes ago. We're already overwhelmed in these rural communities. There's 31 counties along the southwest border. 20 are considered rural like mine. We don't have the resources. All I hear is we're talking about CDC. Folks, I'll just say in the last 18 months, I don't recall Dr. Fauci or anybody from CDC talking about our southern border and what law enforcement's been addressing when it comes to the health pandemic down here. I would argue that all day. Nobody has talked to us, and that's a big concern to sheriffs. We have tried to reach out to this administration to include letters to the President of the United States, and it's gone on deaf ears. It's intellectual avoidance. So if I say I'm frustrated, if I say my fellow sheriffs are frustrated, that'd be an understatement. So we are concerned because there's not a collective action, there's not a collective shared plan, and there's not a collective message, especially starting in communities with this administration.
I'm going to tell you 2 real quick stories because Senator Schumer's here and I want to make sure he's my future boss, so I got to suck up a little bit here.
They'll talk about the fact that not only did mainstream media not pick it up, but also you had bans from Twitter. You had bans. I don't know about YouTube. I don't know. But there were social media bans on this being misinformation. What happened? What happened there? What was the timeline there? Because you said Fox News at first wouldn't run with it. Obviously, the New York Post ran with it early. People were very suspicious. But during the campaign, was there a time when social media, mainstream media, should have more aggressively gone after this?
Well, there's no question that it was an embarrassment to the social media giants that this was banned from being shared, right? Mm-hmm. It was declared misinformation. I mean, there's no question that that's a shameful moment, that they isolated this piece and said, oh, you can't share this. This is disinformation, et cetera, because there was no evidence that it was disinformation. Now,